Hello, good evening. Welcome to News 360. We're live from the News Hub here at Adesanwe in Accra. We're also streaming worldwide on the internet via 3news.com. We're also live on DSTV channel 279. My name is Solace Rose Corte.
And my name is Issa Moni. We have the headlines for tonight coming up right away.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by Deluxe Paid.
And rice farmers in Ahafano Southeast District appeal for rice farming machinery.
AMA Chief Executive Officer threatens to arrest and prosecute those who flout sanitation bylaws.
Tama Police Command arrests 9 persons suspected of dealing in illicit drugs at Tulaku, a suburb within Ashaiman municipality.
And on the international front, Kenyan Red Cross says at least 112 people have died since the early March floods caused by heavy rainfall.
And we have all those details, including sports and entertainment, coming up this hour. Let's begin the news in Garipe in the Nanumba South District of the Northern Region. The women in that part of the country rub shoulders with men in providing shelter for the home. This, they say, promote gender equality.
The infamous 1995 Beijing conference declared that what a man can do, a woman can do better. This expression seemed to be true among women in Garupe, a farming community in the Nanumba South District of the Northern Region. Here, provision of shelter, one of the basic necessities of life, is a shared responsibility. It is the responsibility of women to ensure the beautification of the home. For instance, culturally, screeding and plastering are the main role of women after the men have put up the structure. Garupe has little clay soil, so most houses are built with coarse sand. The women go through a lot to win the sand. Cow dung, which serves as a binding material, is mixed in larger quantity. This is unpleasant because of the stench emanating from the mixture, but the women have no option. No protective clothing is used, and hygiene is the last thing on their minds. They explain the reason for their choice of the cow dung.
If one refuses to use the cow dung, the sand do not hold. It is also economical.
The work is done on rotational basis for all members who are mainly married women. With simple tools, they give a beautiful finishing. Among the concumbers, women are in charge of beautifying the home. Talk about screeding on the floor and plastering of the entire home. Elsewhere, this kind of job is ascribed to men. But the beauty of what they do here is that they use simple tools, such as stones, their hands and feet, to do this beautiful work.
It's something like a town or cities like this. You have to let the masons to do it. But a village like this, all the duties are for the women. They have to do it. Somebody like me who have married and you have a house, they can help you. You beg them and then they'll come and help you.
In spite of the dangers one could face, a good work done is their priority. Then there comes jubilation.
Well, definitely some artistic women there. Let's move away from that and come down to the Ashanti region, where rice farmers in the Ahafo North Southeast District have appealed for farming machinery to help them to ease the difficulties in rice farming. The farmers say using traditional means to farm is discouraging the youth from venturing into agriculture. A report by Beatrice Spielgabra. These farmers are sowing rice seeds on an acre of land. It is more of a communal support as they do this in turns on other farmers' farms. The men use a wooden stick to dig the holes, while the women and children sow the rice seeds. The farmers admit this method of farming is tedious and time-consuming. They also lamented that after going through this process at the planting stage, they also have to go through another process of threshing the rice. Marketing the local rice is also another challenge for them, as middlemen purchase on credit and some even refuse to pay. The rice farmers want government to support them with planting trucks. A retired teacher who has been farming for over 10 years also asked the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to release farming inputs such as seeds and fertilizers under the Planting for Food and Jobs on time.
For this farmer, I employed some women to do the sowing. And I spent about 800 Ghana over here. So, but just because of one or two things, I was able to afford. So at least we need some sort of this financial assistance from the government to to help us.
Now, journalist and convener for the Alliance for Women in Media Africa, Shamima Muslim, has called on government to demand that media and other corporate organizations draw up specific regulations to tackle the incidents of sexual harassment at workplaces. Speaking to Solitros Quarty at the sidelines of the Paris session on gender and sexual harassment in the media industry at the World Press Freedom Day, Shamima Muslim said the stereotypes and misperceptions about women in the media leaves them vulnerable to blatant harassment in the workplace.
Sexual harassment and abuse discussions have been on the rise worldwide since the Me Too campaign took off in October last year. A women's rights advocate, Shamima Muslim, is of the view the fact that companies have to be pushed to include clauses on sexual harassment in employment contracts tells of the lack of seriousness paid to issues of sexual violence in the media space.
The policies need to be in place, and when people are brave enough to actually report situations of harassment, organizations need to take them serious, and we need to see actions being taken against whether colleagues or people in higher ups. Governments must come in to ensure that they demand, as a matter of law and regulation, that organizations prepare and submit their sexual harassment policy.
She added there are alternative forms of breaking the silence and urged women in powerful positions to avail themselves to other young women for guidance on how to deal with the problem.
Some of these senior colleagues, as you're speaking about, they're busy, they're in management positions. You need to come to them with your problems to give you advice or support you. If you don't, they can't assume and know what's happening in your life. And you'll be surprised that they might be willing and able to help you.
Director of Iron Institute for Women, Politics and Media, Dr. Louise Carol Donko, a panel member, maintains movements like the Me Too campaign would be difficult to adopt in Ghana because chances are those who are in positions to fight for the cause are likely to be culprits themselves.
If we can estimate that if the Me Too movement catches up here, people will be in trouble, I think that is painting a picture of how huge the problem is. As we've seen from the Me Too movement, it's going to get to a time when these behaviors, people would have to pay for them. And if you've done such an act, perhaps in 5 years somebody would be naming you.
The focus of the session was to bring to bear the forms of sexual harassment that women in media face across the world. Egypt's Lamia Radi is a war correspondent. She shared her harrowing experience.
I took a lot of trainings, like what they called dangerous environment trainings. Sexual harassment and sexual violence was a very minimal part about it. On 2005, it was in Egypt. It was a demonstration against former President Mubarak. And herds of thugs came and sexually harassed female journalists. I was one of them. A young colleague, she was stripped of her clothes. She was groped and sexually assaulted with their hands, and nothing happened. No one intervened. The police was there and they didn't lift a finger to help her. This was even more painful than the incident itself, because I called a colleague to report on the incident. And she's a woman, she's a journalist, and she's an international journalist, not from our part of the world. And she said, okay, but this is not important. We'll say it later or not even put it.
Journalist and writer Rana Ayub said fake pornographic photos of her were released onto the internet as punishment for daring to go up against Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
I think cyber sexual harassment took a new meaning for me this time around. I mean, of course, every time I have done a big investigation that exposes the government, this is troll army which is unleashed on me, which indulges in character assassination. And I could see that there were people, there were voyeurs who would like to watch these videos because it's pornography. Institutions like Facebook and Twitter are not doing enough. They're only abetting these cyber crimes, because I remember reporting these pornographic videos to Twitter, and I got a response immediately saying this does not violate our policy. If this does not violate Twitter policy, what does?
Rana Ayub encouraged female journalists and other young women to stand firm in their beliefs and convictions, regardless of the level of harassment meted out to them.
What happened to me is damning, what happened to me is distressing, but it took me about 10 days to emerge out of this. Understand that the reason why they are doing this is because your work impacts them. Do not let these people determine or define you by what they speak about your body and your body parts. You are more than a sum total of all your body parts. So do not let anybody intimidate you by a naked body or harassing you. The reason why they are afraid of this is because they do not want to hear your voice. And the only way to silence your voice is your body. So do not let them shame you into that.
At the end of the session, speakers urged women in media to form a united front and use their respective platforms to speak out about all forms of sexual violence against women in their countries and around the world. Well, officials of the Ghana Revenue Authority have paid unannounced visits to some shops in Kumasi to measure the level of compliance with the excise tax stamp policy. Now, Commissioner General of the authority, Emmanuel Kofi, says the policy will be enforced to the letter to help increase tax revenue as well as prevent smuggling of excisable goods. A report by Ibrahim Abubakar. Business owners were given a grace period to fix the tax stamp on all excisable products or risk seizure. At ShopRite, the GRA officials and their task force observed some excisable products had the tax stamps affixed on them, but others did not. Manager of the shop was directed to remove all excisable goods without the stamp from the shelves and ensure the stamps are affixed before display. The situation was not different at the game retail outlet in Kumasi City Mall, as partial compliance was observed. The managers were also directed to take away all the products without the tax stamp from the shelves. Briefing the media, Commissioner General of the authority, Emmanuel Kofi, expressed his outfit's resolve to enforce the policy.
The implementation of the excise tax stamp does not mean the introduction of any new tax. Rather, the stamp is a new way of administering the already existing excise tax. The tax stamp would rather enable GRA to effectively monitor the payment of excise tax to ensure that the correct quantum of tax is paid.
Kofi taxed consumers to always look out for the tax stamp before patronizing any excisable product. The Ghana Revenue Authority announced that, effective April 1, 2018, all excisable products, such as bottled and packaged water, alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages, and tobacco, should have a tax stamp affixed. The move is to control importation and check illicit trading and smuggling of the products into the country.
The Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram, Samuel George Nati, has questioned the government's claim of creating over 1 million jobs in 15 months. But a member of Parliament of the New Patriotic Party, communications team. Garin Mako insists the Ningo Pram Member of Parliament had no basis for questioning the figures until he provides contrary evidence.
Authority that the minister has told an untruth, and that under the Planting for Food and Jobs, this government has employed only 3,230 people. And I'll give you evidence to buttress that. But before I go there, let's even take the World Population Review of 2018, which puts Ghana's working population at 12 million Ghanaians. In the State of the Nation's Address 2018, by His Excellency President Akufo-Addo, he put Ghana's unemployment rate at 5.7%. So if you take 5.7% of 12 million Ghanaians, that's 684,000 unemployed people. So if the minister claims that he created 1 million jobs, it means we should have in excess of 300,000 jobs that are sitting there. So again, you see the disconnect between the figures that are being put out by both the president and the minister in terms of reality, because the president says 5.7% of Ghanaians are unemployed. Even in the minister's own speech in Kumasi, he made reference to the labor force survey of 2015. That labor force survey puts Ghana's total unemployment rate, or unemployed people, at 1,250,913 people. So it then means that if you had created 1 million jobs, we've effectively wiped out unemployment in Ghana.
Now, when we say that, look, it is not true, it is not factual, the minister told untruth to Ghanaians, the question I ask, have you gone to the ground to verify the figures to come to a different conclusion as to whether the minister has peddled falsehood or otherwise? I don't think that if you haven't done that, it's proper and fair to say that the minister has peddled falsehood to Ghanaians. If you ask my brother, if he has gone to the ground,
to the budget statement, and
the budget statement is a budget of estimates. It's a budget of estimates.
This was in respect of what had happened in 2017, so that would have captured the actuals.
In the absence of my own very good brother, Sam George, honorable, who I so dearly love, not having gone to the ground to verify the figures, I think that it would be premature for him to say that the minister has peddled falsehood to the Ghanaians. Let him go to the ground and come back to us next week on this show to say that he went to the ground and the people are there or they are not there.
All right. Now, a labor expert, Austin Game, is worried about the latest reports that special assistants are taking over the roles of civil servants in various ministries. Speaking on New Day, Austin Game says government must stop the practice immediately if the claims by the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana are true. Early this week, ClockSAG warned government it will move in to clear special assistants from the ministries if government failed to act.
Village you have a Mensa there. So the reality is that you cannot lump the entire civil service into the same basket. There may be some bad notes in between. And then you can complain through the structures and they may be able to resolve it or otherwise. And that's why in the Labour Act we provided, and they are also covered, we provided that we must train, retrain, and develop the skills of the people. And with these rapidly changing technologies, with the kind of computerization system, the high-level Excel functioning system that we have, you can use one person to generate 15 years information in 30 minutes. We need to just train them, and they'll respond to it. So my plea and suggestion strongly is that if it is a fact that this thing is ongoing, we need to stop it and use sparingly these people to provide some sort of consultancy services as and when it is very, very necessary. But to place them in this square, if they want to react, government will become a bit frustrated.
And the New Patriotic Party constituency and polling station executives at Formina in the Ashanti region have warned incumbent Member of Parliament Andrew Amoako Esiama to change his ways or refrain from contesting for the seat in the 2020 parliamentary elections. The party executives allege the MP's comment on the Free Senior High School has always been negative, while his actions breeds disunity among members of the party. Ibrahim Abubakar's report.
The party executives alleged the MP's comments on the free SHS has always been negative. adding that his actions continue to instigate disunity among the members of the party.
He's saying that the free SHS is leading to low enrollment with the private schools. Because he owns a private school, that's why he's sabotaging these policies which is going to help and has started helping majority of Ghanaians in this country.
But the MP, Andrews Esiama, refuted all the allegations, describing them as baseless.
Who in his right senses will say free SHS is not good? Who? Even opposition members say free SHS is good. It's true, I have a school. And even that school is a private, it's a basic school, it's not even SHS. Whereby one can say because SHS, I have SHS, that's why I'm saying. My school I own is a private school and it is a basic school.
Now, still in politics, former President John Dramani Mahama is urging the government to, as a matter of urgency, complete the Bolgatanga-Boku Road, which his government started prior to the 2016 elections. He was addressing teaming supporters of the NDC in Bolgatanga after their unity walk in the Upper East region. A report by Tanko Mohammed Rabiu.
The reorganization of the NDC towards 2020 elections, that unity walk, took place in the capital of the Upper East region, Bolgatanga, with a huge turnout by party supporters, former government appointees and party executives within and outside the region. The teeming crowd trekked through the principal streets of Bolgatanga with party songs to entertain the public. At a mammoth rally to climax the unity walk, the former president thanked regional party executives for organizing the event. The former president said most of the projects started by the NDC had been halted by the Nanado government, including the Bolgatanga-Boku Road, and urged the new government to complete the project.
The schools we're building have come to a stop. Many of the roads we're building have come to a stop. But I have one appeal. If there is one project that we started that is critical to the economic development of the Upper East region, then it is the Bolga-Boku Road.
The former president said the hardship in Ghana was becoming worse under the MPP and asked them to address it.
One of the reasons that they gave that people should vote us out of office was that life was hard. Today, life is even harder. And what is this government offering? I must say, if you look at what this government has done so far in the 1 year, 3 months, if that is what they call incompetence, I call it super incompetence.
Other speakers spoke on the need for the NDC to come back and save Ghanaians from hardship.
News 360 returns shortly with Mission. Right after this, stay with us. Welcome back to News 360. It's now time for Mission, which is supported by Star Ghana with funding from Danida, the UK Aid and the European Union. Now, teachers and pupils at the Tikarini Evangelical Presbyterian School in the Pandai district of the Northern Region risk studying in a deplorable classroom months after portions of their roof was ripped off by a storm. Now, inadequate furniture also compels pupils to lie on the floor.
This is a routine academic exercise for kindergarten pupils of the Tikarini Evangelical Presbyterian Basic School. Although the school was preparing to go on vacation, teachers did not renege to execute their mandates. Established more than 2 decades ago, the school continues to serve more than 150 pupils from Tikarini and 4 other adjoining communities. However, lack of teaching and learning materials, coupled with abject poverty, have worsened the plight of the school. Class 4 pupils, for instance, use the Tikarini branch of the Church of Pentecost auditorium for academic activities. They are ejected whenever the congregation wants to hold morning weekday service. The school has inadequate furniture. In some classes, It is a privilege for a pupil to sit on broken pieces of desk if the person comes to school early.
Most of the students, as we speak, when we are teaching, it is not easy for us to control them. And it is just because when they are to write, a lot of them, where to sit is a problem. Others ought to be on the ground. So how to even make them have a legible handwriting is a serious problem, which we are always encountering.
It's a Monday afternoon and latecomers have had to lie prostrate on floor for the day's academic work. But this is not their only problem. Authorities say enrollment has dwindled due to the existing hardship in the community. At Tikarini, parents give little attention to education. Illiteracy is high.
These textbooks I have with me here, I'm told are outmoded, but because the school has no supply of textbooks, they are compelled to fall on this. Some of the chapters and the units are torn out, and this, according to teachers, is affecting the way they teach.
Almost all the subjects, as we are speaking, you can go to a classroom, some there are about 5, some 6 or some 7. Some you will not even see a single out of the subject. Sometimes we do pay them, and by parents self, it is a serious problem.
Chairman of the Parent-Teacher Association of the Tikarini School acknowledges the unpleasant situations the staff and pupils endure in the name of education, but says the community cannot do much because of poverty. For some pupils, the zeal to change society through education gives them the edge. Scarcity of water sources in the community has compelled pupils to bring their own water from home. In February this year, a rainstorm succeeded in ripping off portions of the school's roof. 3 months on, the roof has not been fixed. This exposed both teachers and pupils to danger.
The DC came and we're told he was sent by the MP. With that, he made that of a carpenter to come. And we're told, he said the carpenter should give them estimate for that of the portion that was damaged. As of now, we have not heard anything from them.
Emmanuel Tatablata represents the central government in Pandai.
And we call on one carpenter to give us the estimate. He came with the estimate, but the estimate was not complete. He gave us the estimate without the zinc. We asked him to factor the zinc estimate to it so that we get it complete. So that as and when the common fund come, we will know how much we are allocating to that place, at least to be able to fix, the root of structure.
Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Tikarini, Bandai.
All right, now still on education, students of the Sabonida MA Junior High School in the Nanumba North municipality study under harsh conditions. The school currently operates from a room belonging to one of the residents in the area.
Sabonjida, a farming settlement, is located about 19 kilometers away from the Nanumba North municipal capital, Bimbila. It is also a boundary community between Nanumba North and East Gonja. The community has a large population but remains undeveloped. Education in this part of the northern region is not the best, as the only junior high school serving Sabonjida and its adjoining communities has remained in a deplorable state over 2 decades. The sheds were put up in former President Jerry John Rawlings' regime in 1992, but has since not received any major facelifts. School authorities say they occasionally mobilize town folk to erect a wall around the structure to save students and teachers from bad weather. On some occasions, the students contribute their quota.
The wall is not strong. It needs to be a block form so that nothing will happen to it. But the way we use our hands to build it, it's not strong. That's why it has destroyed like that. And if masters are teaching, we're not getting it. The only thing we'll do is that after the classes, we'll go and sit somewhere which is comfortable so that we can learn and get the thing. That was the way we're doing.
But their efforts have not helped much as the walls continue to wash away with the slightest rainfall. 3 years ago, Member of Parliament for Nanumba North, Dominic Nitiwo, bought a trip of sand to mold blocks for the school, but nothing has since been done.
Well, according to him, he said he was coming to mold blocks for a new structure, and then even made us to clear, see that space behind us, to clear the place. That was where he was coming to make them set up, do the setting out, and then put up a new school. Me, looking at the whole thing, my hope, or the way we are seeing the whole thing, if not God's intervention, I see no hope in this case.
Teachers say teaching and learning is not effective here.
When I came here with the first batch, they were able to make grade 13 up to 30. They have not been able to maintain that because of the problems that faces us.
The school has insufficient furniture, and so students are compelled to bring their chairs and tables from home. Students whose parents cannot afford a table sit on the floor.
You all know who a Kama is, right? Yes.
Most of them, they don't have furniture to use. For some years now, we don't get from the disassembly any dual decks for the children to use. So they provide their own. Looking at the northern part of the country here, some of them, they don't even know the essence of education. So they are not willing to continue. So we are just pleading to the government to come and support us.
Again, the school, which has an enrollment of about 100, has no physical structure as an office. Property of the school are kept with individuals in the community.
We went to the community to ask for somebody's sleeping room, and we do keep our register and other teaching and learning materials there. Certain times it even the rooms link and even destroy parts of our materials, the school materials and the textbooks that is being provided by the GS.
New teachers refuse postings to the school. This teacher, for instance, has provided voluntary service since the last 9 years.
They will post the teachers, they won't come because of the structure. And they are our brothers. I have brothers, my direct brothers here. So if I feel like going to stay at the house, teachers are not coming to teach. It means we are losing education. So that's why some of us are still there.
He said attempts to get him absorbed by Ghana Education Service have failed.
CS will come around, the heads will come around, directors will go for several workshops, and they see me in the district being voluntary teachers taught for this number of years. And I'm not given that chance. But people who have just competed behind me are given the chance, they are recruiting them, and me being the voluntary, serving voluntarily up to this time, have that certificate in my hand. I'm denied the distance, so I feel discouraged.
The school has 2 ICT teachers, but for years, information communication technology is taught in abstract because they have no textbooks.
To send or to receive what?
Information.
And that is what we are going to base on to learn what we call ICT.
None of the students has seen a computer before, so the mission team showed them a laptop, and this is how they reacted.
I hope this is your first time of seeing the laptop.
Yes, if master is teaching us ICT, everything he taught, we are not understanding it. If he brought everything in the board, if you seen it, he will talk plenty things about it, but we not understand it. And he's saying that we should be praying that so that the government will help us to get laptop or computer, and we are happy that we have touched laptop today, and we are so happy. If you help us to get laptop, we'll be happy for what we are doing for us.
Sabongida has water challenges, and so students spend longer hours searching for water, thereby impacting negatively on their education. Stakeholders' commitment would be required to make the Sabongida Junior High School a better place for both staff and learners. The structure you see right behind me is what accommodates students of Sabongida and 7 other communities in the Nanumba North municipality of the Northern region. Its current state has forced a lot of students to stay away from school. Efforts by politicians to address the situation have failed. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Sabonjida.
And here at the News Hub, my name is Solis Rose Corte. That's how we wrap up Mission for tonight. It is supported by Star Ghana with funding from Danida, the UK Aid and the European Union.
In other news tonight, the Tema Police Command has arrested 9 persons suspected of dealing in illicit drugs at Tilaku, a suburb within Ashaman municipality. Deputy Regional Commander DCOP Boedu Pepra led his team to make the arrest.
Items retrieved from the suspects include 8 slabs of compressed dried leaves suspected to be cannabis, 40 wraps and a large quantity of dried leaves also suspected to be cannabis. A number of mobile phones, machetes, knives and other implements were also retrieved from the suspects. Briefing newsmen at the Regional Police Headquarters, the Tema Regional Police Commander DCOP Nana Hine Asuma said such operations would be conducted regularly within the various divisions, districts and metropolises.
Our intelligence indicated that a lot of people are there who are involved in criminal activities. During the sweep, we were able to arrest 9 suspects. The scary aspect was that we found a lot of knives, double-edged sword knives were found there. A number of mobile phones were also retrieved from these people. Currently, they are rest in our castle, giving them an accommodation to sleep over there while we screen them. At the close of the screen, if we found those who are found to be culpable, we move them to the next stage as we move on to court.
Meanwhile, the dried leaves suspected to be cannabis have been forwarded to the police forensic laboratory for examination.
Now to some sanitation news. Residents of Abosilkai and its environs have refused to adhere to an Accra Metropolitan Assembly directive that all shops remain closed till 11 a.m. to enable shop owners participate in the national sanitation exercise. The Chief Executive Officer of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Mohammed Ajay Soa, has therefore vowed to arrest and prosecute those who flout sanitation bylaws. Mohammed Ajay Soa was speaking at the end of the monthly cleanup exercise.
The 4-hour exercise started at about 6 a.m. with some roads blocked to ensure more people participated. The exercise saw workers of Accra Metropolitan Assembly and zoom lie on the silting gutters and clearing mosquito breeding places. The national sanitation exercise in the Accra metropolis was poorly patronized. Residents expressed disappointment over apathy shown in the Abosilkai area. Shops which were open during the exercise were forced to close down by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly Task Force led by the Chief Executive. More residents got themselves involved when the Assembly Task Force went round on inspection. The Accra Metropolitan Chief Executive Mohammed Ajay Soa said the Assembly will vigorously enforce the sanitation bylaws to ensure the President's call to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa is materialized.
The solution to the problem is the enforcement of our bylaws. And that's why we've procured 10 pickups. They are fully branded. We have Metro Gas, policemen and environmental health officers that are in these pickups, and their duty is to ensure that they enforce the bylaws. They've been deployed around the city. They are working, and we need to up our game and continue to do so.
He said the Assembly will continue to intensify education to generate increased participation. The Member of Parliament for Ablekuma Central, Ebenezer Nati, explained plans are far advanced to improve the area.
We have so many laws, but implementing it is a problem. But for me, I can assure you, for us in Ablekuma Central constituency, if other constituencies cannot do it, we will do it. Let me give you one example. When you pass through the Takrade station, the highway, people have parked buses there. I gave an ultimatum. I'm giving you within 1 week to move. If you refuse to move, you will see the other side of me. Today, go and look at the street. It is there and everybody is happy. That is exactly what we want to do in Ablekuma Central constituency.
Mohammed Ajay Soa really upset there. You're watching News 360. We'll return shortly with sports news.
Hello, good evening. My name is Yao Ofusilabi, and it's time to do sports here on News 360. We start off from the Ghana Premier League and straight to the screen now. And Elmina Sharks drew today with Ashanti Gold Football Club. That game ended in a goalless draw. The Inter-Allies will take on Brekum Chelsea later on tomorrow. And Liberty Professionals will also face Karela at the Dansuan Carl Reindorf Park. Mediama SC will also take on Dreams FC. Wafa will face Wa All Stars. 11 Wonders will take on Ebuswanduas Football Club. And Asante Kotoko will take on Bechem United. Also at the Baba Nyara Stadium. Now, Adriana Stars game against Accra Hearts of Oak will be postponed because of Adriana Stars' commitment to the CAF Confederations Cup game on the African continent. Let's move on to more news. And Ghana's youngest world champion, Isaac the Royal Storm Dogbe, was crowned the Sports Personality of the Year at the 43rd Sports Rights Association Awards last night at the Accra International Conference Center. Atletico Madrid midfielder Thomas Partey also won the Footballer of the Year award. My colleague Naneka Mankwa has more. Newly crowned WBO Super Bantamweight champion Isaac Dogbe is the 2017 Sports Rights Association of Ghana Personality of the Year. The 43rd edition of the prestigious and longest-running sports events in the country rewarded athletes, administrators, footballers, clubs, national teams and individuals who have excelled across all disciplines in the year 2017. Dogbe, before his crowning moment, had won the Professional Boxer of the Year ahead of Duke Micah.
This year was going to be a great year for Team Dogbe. It's going to be a great year for all of us. And starting from the new year, January, great things just started happening. So we give glory to God, and winning this award as the best professional boxer of the year and then best personality of the year is an awesome feeling.
Atletico Madrid and Ghana international Thomas Partey picked up the Footballer of the Year award. Former Accra Hearts of Oak skipper Thomas Abe was awarded for his stellar performance on the local scene last season. He left with the Local Footballer of the Year award. Princella Dubia of Ampem Ladies and captain of Ghana's under-20 female team picked up the Female Player of the Year award. Sector Minister Isaac Esiama promised to work with SWAG to ensure developments in sports.
Indeed, sustaining a program for such a long time without a break is no mean an achievement. And my high commendation goes to the past and present SWAG executives and members who have made this possible. And I wish you more exciting, successful years ahead as you endeavor to partner the Ministry for Sports Development.
Kwabena Yeboah is president of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana.
It was a brilliant night for the sportsmen. Fortunately, we had quite a number of the sportsmen showing up, and Isaac Dogbe was absolutely brilliant. He made the day for us. We did a thorough job. We have absolutely no motivation to cheat for anybody. There's no motivation for that. And one of the key reasons why SWAG has survived the last 43 years is because of the credibility and integrity of the awards.
Osajifo Osiadeyo Ajimambedu II, the paramount chief of the Doma traditional area and owner of Adriana Stars Football Club, and other dignitaries from the sports fraternity graced the event. Now, with the commitment of finding the next football star in Ghana, Nestle Ghana continued with the grassroots talent search, which with the launch of the 4th edition of the Milo Under-13 Champions once again. My colleague Daniel Yeboah was there and has come through with his report.
The 2018 edition of the Milo Under-13 Champions League was launched at a brief event in Accra. The competition will see over 20,000 school children participating from across all the 10 regions. Speaking at the ceremony, which was highlighted by a grand trophy presentation, Managing Director for Nestle Ghana, Mrs. Frida Duplan, emphasized the importance of sports for nation building and how the Milo Championships seek to encourage grassroots sports participation.
I strongly believe that the future of our dear country Ghana depends on how we invest with hope and pride in our younger ones by giving them the right experiences. Here we are again, unveiling the 2018 edition of the Milo Under-13 Champions League. This will continue to inculcate important life values while promoting physical activity for the well-being of Ghanaian school children between the ages of 9 and 12. We are grateful to the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, the Ghana Education Service, for collaborating with us to promote grassroots sports and education in Ghana.
The tournament, aimed at bringing out football talents, will unfold in 3 major stages: districts, regional and national finals, to promote values and practices relating to nutrition, health and wellness among young people.
Now, physical exercise of the body has been considered as one of the healthiest lifestyles one can live. Making this a habit, health experts say, strengthens the body and prevents many diseases from happening to the body. Now, to keep workers of graphic sports or the graphic communications group healthy, management has given opportunity to employees to physically reap the benefits of physical exercise.
The benefit of exercise extends far beyond weight management. Research shows that the regular physical activity can help reduce risk from several diseases and health conditions while improving overall quality of life. Regular physical activity can help prevent diseases such as heart diseases, peripheral vascular diseases, higher blood pressure, obesity, and many others. Due to the need to live a healthy life and prevent these diseases, many daily engage in physical activities, whilst others engage in this once a week, with others making it monthly activity. Some of the reasons for these variations are as a result of busy nature of career people. This therefore urges many companies to encourage their employees to engage in physical exercise. Employees of Graphic Sports, a subsidiary newspaper of Graphic Communications Group, therefore took to the mountains at Ayimensa in the Greater Accra region to do away with stress accumulated over the period.
The health condition of our people informs the level of productivity they bring on board as far as our output to work is concerned. So Graphic Sports is championing a healthy lifestyle way forward for the middle class and the working class.
The instructor believes it is necessary for the workers to engage in the physical exercise to keep them fit.
It boosts their confidence level, it boosts their courage, everything. In terms of exercise, we gain a lot.
Some of the participants expressed joy over the activity and asked management to fulfill its promise by regularly organizing the exercise.
I think this one is fantastic because of the hills that we've been climbing. So this one is more energetic than the ones that I've been doing in the house.
It has been an exciting event. I really like it. We hope that we continue this exercise to promote longevity of life.
I'm wishing they continue this almost every week so that we can keep fit for a healthy living.
Now to news that has just trickled in the past 1 hour, saying that Sir Alex Ferguson has been reported that he's been admitted to the hospital for a brain hemorrhage, and prayers are going out to him there, and we hope that he will be fit for the next few days. That's how we end the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Yao Ofusula. International news is next.
All right, in international news this evening, 4 miners have died after an earthquake caused a caving at a South African gold mine. The miners were among 10 rescued from Sibanye Stillwater's Misakeni mine west of Johannesburg after the incident on Thursday. 3 miners remained trapped, 2 of whom are still unaccounted for. South Africa is a leading gold producer, but the industry has often been accused of a poor safety record. Back in February 1955, miners became trapped underground for more than 24 hours after a storm knocked out the power and the backup generators failed to work. Now, this latest incident took place after the epicenter of the quake struck very close to where the miners were working. South Africa's largest trade union, the Congress of South African Trade Unions, COSATU, has criticized the company, saying in a statement it was alarmed by the deteriorating and poor safety record of Sibanye Stillwater.
Now, the American Space Agency, NASA, has launched its latest mission to Mars. InSight will be the first probe to focus its investigations predominantly on the interior of the red planet. The lander, which is due to touch down in November, will put seismometers on the surface to feel for mass quakes. These tremors should reveal how the underground rock is laid. Now, the data can be compared with Earth to shed further light on the formation of the planet 4.6 billion years ago. Thick fog did not affect the launch on an Atlas rocket from the Vandenberg Air Force Base in California at 04:05 local time on Saturday. Now, NASA sent seismometers to the red planet on the Viking lander in the 1970s, but these missions failed to detect ground vibrations because the instruments were positioned on the body of the probes.
And just more international news, the Kenyan Red Cross says at least 112 people have died since the early March floods caused by heavy rainfall in its long rainy season. Addressing the press conference in Nairobi, General Secretary of the Kenyan Red Cross, Abbas Yulet, said the floods have displaced thousands. And now for some entertainment news. And in entertainment news this evening, participants of TV3's Talented Kids continue to impress guests every week with their thrilling performances. Now, here are some amazing performances and comments on the show so far.
Tonight, I don't wanna see no daylight now. We don't wanna see no daylight now. Everything.
The contestants of Ghana's biggest and outstanding program for young people have had a lot of guests. Among the lot who were thrilled by their performances were High Life legend Amanziba, known as Nat Brew, and music producer and sound engineer Apietus.
Elections are so bad, I could afford any was the season. That was a cool agenda. I talk about one so no mind the more short Ghana for can never pay you. Who put that in the Nagas or so would not get you. On my name, when an invention of our Babu Company, that's a good Itana Saba, one day.
This is history. History over jazz. Goodness me. You are the man. I can see an opportunity for a collaboration.
Watching these kids and to have different genres, different acts, with these little children performing, and everybody so enthusiastic. Everybody want to give their best. Gives me so much hope that at least we know that they are going to be the future leaders.
Talented Kids, a program of Ghana's leading TV channel, TV3, which features young people between the ages of 7 and 12, airs every Sunday at 4 p.m.
And Shatawale's mother, Mama Elsie Evelyn Avamega, in an interview with TV3 Entertainment team, prophesied that her son's music will be studied at the tertiary level. Now, let's find out from fans how they take this news.
This country, if nothing happens to any of us, I am telling you very soon, I am the mother of Shatawale. I am telling the whole Ghana, very soon, the universities will be studying the song of Shatawale. I bet, and I know my God is going to do it for him.
Okay, so that's what you're praying for now?
That is what I am praying for. They will study the music of Shatawale in the universities.
It will depend on the kind of song it is and the content in the song. At times, they speak profane words.
I cannot study a song about Shatawale because I'm a positive Rasta, a righteous man, and I do anything positive.
Looking at the things and looking at what Shatta has been doing, it can be possible. I would like to study them confused.
The Shatawale prophecy about his music being studied in the school, that's what he thinks, you understand me? Because if he sings sensible songs, which means the teachers and the principals in the school will do what? will appreciate and they'll do what? They'll allow the students to, you know, practice it. But it depends on the lyrics in the song. You understand me? If the lyrics are good, fine. But if it's a profane lyrics, then out.
Me, if it have impact and influence on me, I will. As in his music. You understand?
Love that. Shout out to man Gringo. Yes, Gringo, Ringo. Wow, hey, Mandingo. Oh yeah, make me tell him. Me never see no bad man where we are.
Indeed, shout out to the man Gringo, the Shatta Wale. That's how we wrap up News 360 on TV3. My name is Solis Rose-Quarty.
I'm Issa Moli. Thanks for watching News 360. There will be more updates on 3news.com.